Haywood Highsmith, aka Haywood Locksmith. The Phoenix Suns have added an impactful defensive player to the rotation for them going into the home stretch of the regular season. How will he provide impact for them? That's what we're here to talk about now. All right, starting out on the defensive end of the floor, all of these clips are going to be on the defensive end. That's where he's going to provide his most impact for the Suns. We're looking at him right here, starting off pressed up. Miami Heat, they pressed up with him a little differently than the Suns do. They usually have just one guy on the ball handler. With the Heat, they usually ran like a 2-2-1 type of press zone, full court, and kind of extended with those pickup points. So you see him here with the person that does not have the ball. Watch as the driver, the ball handler, commits to going one direction. How in tandem with former Sun, Caleb Martin, you see him just kind of run and jump essentially. He commits to the driving angle that's going away from him, so natural to this kind of pressure defensive scheme, he's able to just kind of run and jump the blind side, knowing that his teammate is going to help to keep him funneled to that area, allowing for him to close that airspace as soon as he gets to half court. And because he does that, you have the sideline and the half court line as an extension of defenders in tandem with the two guys that are kind of ball hawking at that moment. They're going to end up coming away with a timely stop and earn an extra possession. And that earning an extra possession part is as important as anything, as the Suns and Jordan Knott in particular are going to be asking for him to be a high-level possession earner, kind of garnering those extra opportunities for them by way of the defensive process that they have. Similar to that last rep, again, two guys in the backcourt. The Suns usually have 2 to 3 guys. Imagine he's doing these things with the Ryan Dunn, with the Jordan Goodwin, with a couple of other different guys, even Kyle Gillespie at times. This is something that's very replicable, and it's something that in process can easily be added to what the Suns are doing naturally because they already do these things as it is. And speaking to that, look at this steal here. Look at this steal. A very casual pass here from Jason Tatum. Not something that he typically does, but I want to pause it here. Appreciate the multiple efforts. Look at where he goes up to get this pass right here. This is something that you see from players in the NFL Combine when they're having their vertical jump, or even at the NBA Combine, that vertical jump just being measured, and you just get that jumping reach. You see how high up he gets to get this pass. There's only a certain percentile of athletes in the NBA that are able to not only just get that high, but time it up from the play, being one away from the person that's passing the basketball to be able to go and get this at the apex in the manner in which he does. Again, just another example of what the Suns are getting in terms of something they show to do as a template successfully on the defensive end, and somebody that can simply just add to that. And similarly to that, and that's in the same conversation I'm having, this is in the finals. Jamal Murray wants to bring up the ball for obviously the Denver Nuggets. Haywood Highsmith has no idea of what they want to get to. All he cares about is what he's planning to do in terms of dictating. And that's just simply just taking his lunch right here. Try to get the inbound pass to your best ball handler. He's picking him up, knowing that there's a screen there. Best way to impact the ball here is going to be able to just take it away. And that's exactly what he does. Says, give me that. Easy 2 and a layup right there. And you can see the Nuggets just being kind of confused a little bit with each other. And now you get to this rep here, and you want to pay close attention to Haywood. Look who he's guarding right here. Please just pay attention to who he's guarding. That's the MVP right there, Nikola Jokic. And it just does not matter. They're not looking to try to double team here. They're not looking to try to kick out switch or scram switch him. He's just playing one-on-one. Wins to the spot of the catch. I want to start there. And then as you get to the rest of the action here, as I zoom back out for you, you can just kind of see they're just kind of jabbing at the ball, but they're not really trying to steal it. They're letting him do his job on the ball, and that's exactly what he's going to end up doing. Finding that opportunity on the second or third dribble, forces it to be picked up, and now it's about him defending without fouling. And he's going to end up getting a nice little swipe down steal here, surprising Jokic with a little bit of sleight of hand, and the Miami Heat are going to be able to garner an extra possession. Now we get to here. Notice where he is now, off the ball at the nail. This is going to be something that the Suns are able to take full advantage of. Offenses don't have a lot of fun when he's at the nail, whether he's jabbing at a ball handler or he's kind of getting in the way at the nail on a pass here. You see the pass gets into Wagner, but because he's parked in and he's early at the nail, he's obviously matched up with Paolo Banchero. Not the best three-point shooter. You can kind of cheat a little bit to the help line and then get back out if you're early. That's exactly what we see him do here. Quick swipe at the ball. Wagner doesn't even have a chance to actually corral it. Highsmith's almost like a defensive back, like a safety, if you will, in multiple capacities when he's off the ball, earns the possession for his team there. Again, on this rep, we see it again, this time with Hall of Famer, recently retired Chris Paul. Chris is trying to bring the ball up the floor, even has a screen set up from Draymond Green to kind of pressure release. He just beats him to the spot, gets his body and his shoulders between the ball handler and the screener, and he's ultimately able to, again, just get a steal, earning extra possessions. And again, if you're getting these type of deflections and steals in the backcourt, there's no one else there in terms of the offense to help out in these 50-50 ball scenarios. And no different than Jordan Goodwin or Ryan Dunn at times, Haywood Highsmith is going to win those 50-50 balls so often and it feels like it's 95-5, always an advantage and in favor of him. That's something that he's really good at. That's something the Suns are going to be able to take advantage of. I love this rep. This might be my favorite defensive rep because this is something we see from Jordan Goodwin, something we see from Dillon Brooks in the half court. Miami are obviously on defense. Highsmith's matchup is trying to 45 cut here after the switch to remove him from this pocket of the floor so that Jalen Brunson can kind of have a double gap here to attack Terry Rozier. Haywood Highsmith understands the lay of the land, knows that, and watch what he does there as his matchup tries to kind of clear cut to create space. He's simply going to park it in this gap, allow for Terry Rozier to do his job as the primary layer of defense and provide great support on timing. Know that Jalen Brunson is going to ultimately want to get back to his left hand if he can. He's already parked here in that nail area of the floor. As soon as he commits to getting back to the left hand, he just jumps him, is able to kind of catch him off guard in multiple respects, forces him to go back the direction he originally committed to, not knowing that Highsmith was going to be there waiting on him at the nail, and that's going to ultimately be a steal for the Miami Heat. Again, another possession earned for the Suns, or for the Heat, which will translate to the Suns by way of Haywood Highsmith and him just being a high IQ and impactful help defender. Again, this is him off the ball in this situation. Very high level read, great anticipation, understanding of a scouting report, and the ways in which you can just impact the game even if you're not on the primary ball handler or on the ball at all. Get to this rep. Again, teams do not have fun when he's at the nail in any capacity. This is him against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander here. Obviously, Bam Adebayo, primary defender. Watch the cat and mouse that Haywood Highsmith is going to play here with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as he gets into his kind of one-on-one dribble package. So we're going to see a quick, boom, a jab at there. Again, just playing into the psyche and the feel and the rhythm of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. To the extent of, as he gets into the second and the third jab at, he's now playing into the spatial awareness of Shai. Bam is already kind of shading him, funneling him towards the middle of the floor some. Job well done from him, understanding where his help is and how he can kind of square up in respect to that. Highsmith is then able to play into the, like I mentioned, the psyche, gets into the head of Shai, and now he's able to get one of those deflections from significantly close to the ball handler, something that only a few small percentile of defenders can actually get in reaction time and wingspan in today's NBA. Another possession earned for the Suns. For the Heat, no different than the Suns will be able to reap the benefits of. Now we get to him being on the ball, kind of navigating screens here in pick and roll, this time with Shaedon Sharpe. You cannot expose the basketball or play with your food in any capacity if he's guarding you. If you do, he's going to either deflect it or outright steal it. And that's exactly what we see here. Look at the wingspan and reach on display while navigating the screen here. This looks a lot like the things we talk about with Rasheer Fleming, even with Ryan Dunn at times, in terms of him using their wingspan and leveraging that into an advantage. That's exactly what we see him do here. Shaedon Sharpe's trying to figure out how he wants to use this screen. Haywood Highsmith is thinking inversely on how he can take away the screen while also take away the basketball, impacting things on the floor with defense. That's exactly what he does there. Very easy steal, and he's off to the races for a dunk. Get to this rep. Again, full court pressing. The Suns are top 3 in terms of their pickup points. They love to press the basketball, whoever it is that's inbounding or initiating an offense for a team. He's just into the hip early and just dictating the terms and the pace and the flow of which things are happening. Able to get the steal, misses the layup, but he's getting to the free throw line. It's those little things like that that are really going to help him carve out an immediate niche with the Suns and provide immediate impact as a blue-collar boy. Speaking to that, this is him defending in isolation here with OG Anunoby. Again, you can't play with the basketball, but he also isn't just someone that's always gambling. He can be solid, cut off the initial drive, and then get his hands involved, as we see here. On that initial look, you might be thinking, that was Jaime Jaquez that came away with that steal. Pay a little bit closer attention to how he gets his hand involved with the drive on the second dribble after OG commits to the drive. So you get the first dribble on the cross, and now watch him steal the second dribble, getting his hand in there. And it's not the swipe down that's going to get you contact with the player's legs or the midsection that typically would get a foul call. Look at the angle at which he's swiping and how he's swiping with the direction that the person is dribbling is heading towards, using the momentum to his advantage to not get a foul called, getting his hand in there early enough, but also out early enough to where he doesn't get a foul called. Job well done from him again, just earning an extra possession for his team. That's something the Suns are going to greatly benefit from, being a top 3 team in terms of turnover rate, adding somebody that's just going to simply add value to that faction of your defense. Again, we see him this time, a little bit of a dribble handoff from the 76ers. Again, you're not going to have fun if you're playing with the ball around him when he's parked at the nail. This is him at the nail again, waiting for that spin. Primary defender does a good job forcing him back to where he knows his help is. Highsmith is always early, and even earlier than the offensive player can anticipate him, able to get the steal on the spin. Miami Heat are out on the break yet again. All right, get to this rep. Again, we're just going to be paying close attention to him and help again. So he's going to see him just kind of navigating, rotating around. You see him one pass away here from a Jason Tatum isolation here with Bam Adebayo, playing into the psyche of Jason Tatum. He's right in between, just enough that where he can intercept the pass. If he tries to pass it, he can kind of run over to help if Jason Tatum decides to go right and try to beat Bam Adebayo that direction and kind of put a double team on him late in the shot clock. Or he can just be solid, wait to see what decision he makes, and simply just react off of that. And we're going to see him do just that right here. Tatum gets into his kind of dribble package some as he lets the dust settle on the isolation. And you see Haywood Highsmith with the soft double. Tatum was waiting to see if he's going to double or not. This is great cat and mouse again, playing into the psyche of the person on ball. Tatum ultimately tries to go with the one-hand pass. And again, these steals from this close to the ball and the person that's making the pass, there's only a small percentile of defenders that are actually getting a hand on this, yet alone outright stealing this. This is like a wide receiver in the NFL or a DB working on a jug machine from less than 5 feet away, coming up with clean steals. No one's doing this in the NBA that frequently. He's able to gain that extra possession for his team again, and they're out on the break. This time we're going to see him on the ball defending against one of the all-time greats at the point of attack on offense, and obviously James Harden here. We're going to see him do a great job just navigating the screen. Gets hit, gets clipped, but this is where his multiple efforts come into play, to the point where Kel'el Ware, the big, knows that he's going to get back into the play, so he doesn't have to fully commit to the ball, which allows for him to kind of play between the ball and the roller, not opening up an outlet for James Harden. Forces Harden to have to play patient. As he forces him to play patient, that's where Highsmith is able to ultimately get back into the play with his multiple efforts. And look at this block that he gets on the kind of rear view contest. And I let this one come back to play in real time so you can kind of appreciate his multiple efforts and how they're on display and just really disruptive and how they'll ultimately translate for the Suns. All right, this is another fun possession here. So you see him just kind of navigating the screen early. You're going to see a little bit of a peel switch. This is a little bit of a precursor. We'll get to peel switches in the film sessions a little bit later on this week. Nonetheless, we see him getting to one on the ball here, navigating this kind of elbow screen here, as you see the Jazz try to get in the movement for Lauri Markkanen. So Jaime Jaquez peels onto the ball handler, and Highsmith is going to ultimately switch with him getting out to the corner. He gets beat, but this is the difference between him getting beat versus other guys getting beat. If you beat him, you don't really have him beat because, for one, his multiple efforts allow for him to kind of get back into the picture. But for two, he also has a wingspan that allows him the make-up ability to just be impactful defensively, even if he's playing from behind the offense. So you get this kind of crafty, timely peel switch here between him and Jaime Jaquez. Job well done from Jaquez. Job well done from Haywood as well. Getting out to the shooter, running him off the three-point line first. This is one of the tougher closeouts in the NBA. You get to run a three-point shooter off the line, and then you keep contained on them getting to the basket, but not just conceding that to somebody else to get the rim protection for you, but you go and finish the job yourself and being able to get this block. Great example of just the multiple efforts and the kind of bevy of those that he can kind of get into with the Suns. This is time and situation. 10.8 seconds on the clock. Miami's up 1. They need a stop. You cannot foul. All of those things taken into factored into play here. You get him into another coverage where he's playing in pick and roll. Bam Adebayo doesn't want to fully commit to the ball. They ultimately don't have to switch because of Haywood Highsmith's multiple efforts. And now it's about him just winning one-on-one against Malik Monk, one of the shiftier, more crafty ball handlers in the league, on the road, with the game in Bay. And you're going to see him ultimately, again, just do a great job, not necessarily needing help. He gets beat, but again, if you beat him once, you have to beat him twice to actually beat him on one possession. And we see him do a great job, again, with that makeup ability that I spoke to, not biting for the pump fake, as you see Malik Monk get to a spot that he was trying to navigate to. Try to play and bait him with the pump fake to potentially get to the free throw line. Highsmith does not bite on it at all. Again, with the game on the line, this disposition, this maturity, this discipline, very important. And because of that, he can anticipate the second jump, which is where a shot will have to come from. Ultimately, he's able to time that up. And again, at that point, you're not going to get a shot up over him unless you're someone like Kevin Durant, who has a wingspan that exceeds his on top of the height. Job well done from him on that one. And I bring this one back so you can really just appreciate how he's just kind of maneuvering and navigating again with his multiple efforts. This is not an easy stop in any capacity. He gets this just off of his multiple efforts and the feel with which he's defending with. Job well done here from him. Only a few more clips left in this one. This was a very fun one for me. You start obviously going against the Suns. I like this one a lot because of that, but also because look at where he's at. He's guarding after a switch that takes place. He's now guarding Royce O'Neal. Look at where he is in respect to Royce O'Neal, knowing that Devin Booker wants to attack this mismatch here with Duncan Robinson. Understanding all of that and just kind of processing it all in real time, he just hangs out in that driving gap to say absolutely no, Devin Booker, you're not driving past Duncan Robinson without me being in the picture. Devin Booker says, bet. Alexa, just engage him and then kick it out to Royce O'Neal, a north of 40% catch and shoot three-point shooter, especially from the corners. This is where, again, Haywood Highsmith's multiple efforts come into play. He's able to take away that drive, get out to the shooter, and then contain the redrive as he attacks that closeout. And this, again, keeps his help defense from being engaged. That's not something that a lot of defenders are doing. And then this is the special part. He's also getting this block at the end of it all. Take this one back again to just appreciate the speed at which his multiple efforts are taking place. How he's just really undoing things with his defense, putting themselves in position to be successful on that end. This is where we're going to be looking at a few offensive rebounds from him. So this is something else that the Suns are going to greatly benefit from. One of the better and more high volume offensive rebound rate teams in the league. You put a small on them, someone that you might not necessarily think is your best defender. He's going to put pressure on them by forcing them to have to play through physicality. Trae Young, not the most physical person on the court, also not the biggest in stature. You're going to see a quick tag up opportunity as Haywood Highsmith sees him, just blows past him. But now he's not just tagging up with Trae. He's going to get a body on the opposing center here. As you see the shot goal from Bam Adebayo, that's him tagging up against Clint Capella, the opposing five for the Atlanta Hawks. Pushes him off the spot, is able to kind of hold him to get position on the rebound. And again, it's going to be the multiple efforts that win him the extra possession. And that's going to earn Miami an opportunity to score. And again, to bring this one back again, just to appreciate and see the things that he's going to bring to the Suns. He looks a lot like Ryan Dunn. He looks a lot like Jordan Goodwin in these type of situations. This is where his value is going to be added because he's giving you another body across different lineups that you can kind of add to give you some of the same results with a different type of multiple effort activity. Great job from him on this rep. Another rep, this time again, Trae Young is matched up with him. If you're going to stash smalls or kind of switch against them and things like that, try to cross match them, he's going to punish them and force them to have to play through his physicality, especially in 50-50 scenarios. Gets this offensive rebound, turns into 3 points for the Miami Heat.